happening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Final Third. It's me, Sam, aka FIFA Brit, and I'm joined by my favorite gentleman in the whole wide world, Mr. Brad Thomas. Brad, how are you doing? How was your weekend? What did it feel like to have European soccer back in our lives?
Yo, this weekend was funny as hell, man, because it started off with Manchester United literally making me go broke. And I was like, this is what it's like. This is not what the season's going to be like. And then we had some good luck and some bad luck. I finished, you're going to laugh, but I finished plus 0.82 units. Barely up. And I had some of the worst luck and the best luck. Like, Inter Milan, remember we talked about Inter Milan and under 4.5 goals, conceding that penalty in the 90-plus minute. And then I had the goal wiped away in Brentford. But I also got lucky. Newcastle won the match despite playing down a man when it was 0-0, scored a man down. So, like, I'm not overly mad, right? I thought I had some good bets, and that's what happens in betting, though, right? Especially footy, like good breaks and bad breaks. You just need more good breaks than bad.
No, absolutely. That Newcastle game was ridiculous. I think they had 3 shots total and no shots in the second half.
This is going to sound so degen, but I was on vacation and I told my boy, I was like, yo, I'm just going to keep, because I couldn't bet like a lot of different markets. I was like, I'm just going to keep live betting corners for Southampton. At one point, they had Southampton's like team total corners at 4.5. And I was like, hindsight, I should have just freaking hammered that. But I just kept taking it. I was like, once they got to like their third corner, I was like, okay, now I'm gonna take 5.5. And then once they got to like their fifth corner, I'm gonna take 8.5. And I just kept going. I think I went up to 10.5, and they ended with like 14 corners or something.
Jesus, wow, yeah. I know they started like absolutely peppering the goal, but the fact that they came away with a clean sheet and won the game is ridiculous for Newcastle. I was very happy for I had a good week in FPL because I got that Isak assist, and then I had a bunch of Newcastle like midfielders and defenders across like different like other fantasy leagues, and as soon as he got a red card, and it was a fairly soft red card. I think a lot of people are jumping to Shah's defense a little bit too much. Like if you put your head in the guy's vague area of his face, you're an idiot. So
I think
don't do that.
I think he was an idiot, but I also think like the ref had his panties in a bunch. Like he got freaking baited into that.
I mean, like,
because they both. It's not like it was just Shah just pushing his head by himself. They both put a little head into that.
Yeah. Well, pause. But yeah. It was a coming together, but also just don't put yourself in a position where it looks like you've headbutted a guy. You know, Diaz went down like he'd been shot, but you gave him the opportunity to do that, and Diaz should have got a yellow for the initial foul, which
100%
stupid, and then Shah just completely screwed him over. So it is what it is. VAR back in absolute peak form and has pissed me off in many ways this weekend or like last weekend already. Firstly, as an Arsenal fan, not that it made a difference because we won 2-0, but I had to watch this Wolves player, Mosquera, choke slam Kai Havertz into the ground. Like he fell over and then like put his hand like around his neck for like 3 seconds, clearly intentionally. That arm could have gone anywhere else, but he was like, nope, let's get him right around the neck. And then in the second half, he fucking squeezes Jesus' ass cheeks.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like a little tap. It was like it was a reach around squeeze.
Yeah, squeeze. Like one of those where you like squeeze and you raise up a little.
Yeah, I know that. Like that was inching dangerously close to his asshole. Yeah. I was worried for him, and then Jesus like rightfully got really pissed and like pushed out at him, and then Jesus got a yellow card, and somehow Mosquera did not get even a yellow, even though he should have been sent off for slamming Havertz. He escaped with no cards, which I was amazed by. I mean, if you don't laugh, you'd cry at how ridiculous VAR is. And then the other one that really pissed me off, not as a fan, but as a gambler, was Eze's free kick for Palace.
Oh my God.
And that was infuriating for several reasons, because that's not even VAR's fault. If you guys did not see what happened, I'll run it down for you. Eze has a free kick on the right-hand side. Now, to be fair, he's a right-footed player. 9 times out of 10, 99% of the time, this is going to be a cross. And the referee was clearly expecting a cross because he wasn't looking at Eze. He was looking at what was going on in the box, expecting the ball to come in. Eze completely flat-foots everyone and takes a shot which goes in off the post and in, a gorgeous free kick. Problem is, the referee sees what he thinks is a coming together. Well, not even a coming together. A coming together would be fine. He sees what he thinks is a foul. He thinks a player has pushed someone over, and he blows his whistle for a foul. Problem is, he blows his whistle before the ball goes in the net. I'm talking less than half a second, maybe a tenth of a second, like absolute fractional difference.
Yeah.
And the problem is that because he blows his whistle before the ball goes in the net, even though I don't think that the keeper was already trying to move, like it did not impact the play in any way. It's not like the Madrid Bayern UCL semi-final where the ref blew the whistle for offside and then De Ligt took a shot like 3 seconds later when everyone had stopped playing and it went in. Like that was a stupid debate. But this got chalked off for the exact same reason, because technically the ref blew his whistle before the ball went in. So VAR couldn't even check to see if the foul was a foul. The only thing they could check was if the ref had blown his whistle before the ball had gone in the net, which it did. So they couldn't even review the foul, which wasn't even a foul. And that cost me my Eze. But this is on me because I took Eze for 3 first half shots and I didn't take him for 2. Not because I didn't think he would get 2, but because I was like, it's day 1. I don't want to spend like over a unit on a ladder and then just completely swing and miss. I'd rather do half a unit on 3 because I feel pretty good about it. And if it loses, I lose half a unit. And then that would have been his 3rd shot. And then the momentum completely changed, went to Brentford, and he had 2, 20 minutes into the first half, and he ended on 2 in the first half.
So brutal, dude.
And then I got pissed, and I know you ended up being really happy about it, Brad, because you did the smart thing, and you took his full game shots. And then I got really pissed because he ended it with 2 shots at halftime, and then finished on about 7.
Oh
my God! He started spamming shots from like the 80th minute onwards.
You know what's funny?
Yeah, it really pissed me off.
You know what's funny? So I was like, I have a friend. I'm not very aggressive in betting. Like I don't ladder too often or anything, but I do have a really funny friend who we like bet together. He was out of town, right? Normally I would have been like, hey, we're taking Eze. We're not getting this price for the rest of the season. He would have been like, we're laddering. Mm-hmm. He wasn't there to be like the little devil on my shoulder to ladder it. And I was like, man, I miss you, bro. Like I miss you like texting me like we got to ladder it because we would have made bank.
I love that. But also there's no way you can sell me on the fact that you're not an aggressive bettor. Having just told me that you like played Southampton corners like 5 times in the game.
I'm aggressive with corners, really aggressive with
corners.
I'm
like in the past like month, you've told me about several like Spain corners and like all like during the Olympics and
corners
the Euros.
I'm really aggressive.
I'm like this summer you've told me about multiple games where you've been like, and I took them corners and then the corners and then the corners and then I kept doing the corners and they ended on 15 corners and I wish I'd done more corners. And I'm just like, hang on a minute, that's quite aggressive, Brad. One might say.
I love corners.
We know. And you know what? We love you for it, Brad, because not many people do.
It's funny, too. Like, people are like, you're a psychopath for betting corners, but I don't know. They just make sense to me.
Yeah. Hey, fair enough. I mean, I do think you are a psychopath. But to be fair, most of the time you get it right. And then sometimes you see insane bullshit like the Olympics final where Spain don't get a single corner until the 115th minute in extra time.
Yeah, it's always like Spain.
And you're like,
Spain in the Olympics were like the bane of my existence.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they weren't the bane of my existence. I was in love with Fermin Lopez.
Wait, I meant from a corner perspective.
That's fair, but that's because they were like oddly efficient. They just kept scoring with their shots on target.
Yeah, Spain won me a ton of money this offseason.
Yeah. Well, it was an interesting weekend all in all. If you look at the Premier League, really not much happened that I think really surprised people. I guess apart from Man U actually learning how to vaguely defend, they did not concede as many shots as I was expecting them to concede. They didn't, and then they won 1-0, which for Man U is a decent win. That's a game you should win, but they pulled that off. And then Arsenal won, Liverpool won, and City won. So nothing massively surprising. I'd say the only sort of like massive shock was Spurs somehow not beating Leicester. because they had so many chances. And then it's hilarious. The amount of Spurs fans that still swear by the fact that Christian Romero is one of the best centre-backs in the world when he just casually walks away and leaves an unmarked Jamie Vardy at the back post. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not even completely sure he's the best centre-back on his fucking team. Shout out Mickey van der Ven.
That match was freaking hilarious too. Like, and I think the match was going on like when I was at the aquarium, and since it's like
sexy.
kind of down under like a tank, my service was shitting, and I get a text from, I think it was my boss, and he bets corners too, and he's like, "Yo, are you getting on Tottenham corners?" And I was like, "I can't even open my app right now.
Yeah,
like I can't, because I had to use offshore, so I couldn't even open Safari. It sucked.
Yeah,
they had like 5 million corners.
That's rough. That game was hilarious. I enjoyed it. As an Arsenal fan, watching Spurs struggle is beautiful, and also watching Jamie Vardy just return to the Premier League, having been ruled out of this game on Friday. Like, he was not supposed to play. He was supposed to be out, injured, not playing in this game. And then he just rocks up, slams a Red Bull at halftime, and then scores a goal, and then does the badge thing where he taps the Leicester badge, or I guess it would be that side, taps the Leicester badge, does a 1, then points at the Spurs fans and does a 0 to remind them that they haven't won a Premier League before. And then he told Christian Romero to fuck off, which made me really happy.
Yeah, it's such a funny thing.
I love him.
Postecoglou was talking all this shit before the season starts, where he's like, I usually win things in my second year or whatever the hell.
I saw that. I have that saved, and I am ready to use that at the end of the season. I'm so ready. It's hilarious. You see that picture of him after the game, and he's just like on his knees, just like leaning forward.
Yeah.
So fucking done because his team doesn't know how to defend. I think they kept like 3 clean sheets all last season or something ridiculous like that. They do not know how to defend.
Yeah.
And I was just expecting them to sort of go the Atalanta route from like 2 seasons ago, where they just outscore, like they win every game like 4-2, or 5-1 or something like that. Just score 3 goals and make sure the other team doesn't score 3 goals. But they can't even score because I don't understand.
Yeah, right? Like they go get Solanke. Still can't score.
I thought Solanke did okay in the grand scheme of things. For a first game, he was getting in good spots. He had like 2 headed shots on target in like 15 minutes. So, I kind of got screwed because I took Son first half shots. So I did not expect Son to just sort of like. Usually he's a very aggressive winger, cutting inside and taking shots from distance, but he did not play that way. He really sort of changed up his style and was hugging the sideline and playing as much more of a provider, which. Fair enough. If that's how, if you want to change your whole attack and make it spam crosses into Solanke, all right, fair enough. I get that. It was just sort of a bummer, but now I know not to trust Spurs unless it's Solanke shots or headers or a Maddison assist, because clearly Maddison's still, crossing in balls. I was just pissed that Kulusevski didn't start, because Kulusevski had an amazing preseason. His first half shots, he gets priced like Bernardo Silva because he usually doesn't shoot, but he does shoot a lot against shit teams. But I have a strong feeling if he gets a start, he's going to be the first time he starts. I'm ripping his shots because he's going to be firing, especially if we get like a really nice matchup. I wanted him to start against Leicester because Leicester gave up so many shots. But if we get like a nice like Southampton, or I'm not exactly sure. Oh, they're playing Everton this weekend. Hey, if he starts against Everton, yeah, give me that. That'd be great, please.
Oh my God!
They play Brian Johnson.
Allow so many shots in the first half too. Yeah,
I know. So I'm looking forward to that. But still, Spurs are going to Spurs. What are you going to do? Not much else happened in the EPL. I thought the only really interesting thing in the Liga was that Madrid drew with Mallorca, which, to be fair, I wasn't massively shocked at, because Mallorca is a tough place to go and play away. But did you see that picture of Mbappe, Vinny, and Rodrigo all on the left?
All on the left.
Just like, I wonder. That's what happens when you start 3 fucking left wingers as your front 3.
Yeah.
Maybe we might have to rethink this. I'm really hoping they start Arteta at right wing. Not that Rodrigo played badly. I just don't think you can have 3 left wingers playing on the field.
It's just so tough because, he's the only person who scored a goal in that game.
Yeah. Like, he's a good player. You know, I sort of tossed a bit of bait out there earlier today because ESPN was requoting I think it was a Jamie O'Hara quote, basically saying, Saka would get in the starting lineup at Madrid. He would start over Rodrigo. And I was like, a lot of these Arsenal, like Madrid combined 11s or like who would start in Madrid's lineup, most of them are clickbait. Most of them are just trying to piss off Madrid fans. This one I think is a very valid case. Because, and I'm not even saying Saka is a better player than Rodrigo because people thought I was saying that. Not necessarily saying that. I think they're pretty comparable, all things considered. But Saka actually knows how to fucking play as a right winger, and he will stay on the right wing, and he will provide service from the right-hand side, whether he comes in centrally and shoots, or he will cross it in with a really nice, like, in-swinging ball, which he did so many times. That's how we got our Havertz goal against Wolves. And it was just like, yeah, I think he could start for Madrid. And I wouldn't say that about many Arsenal players. I think the only one you could reasonably make a case for is Rice or Saliba, mostly because Camavinga is hurt. If Camavinga is healthy, probably would start him over Rice because Madrid only played with 1-6. And you could put Saliba in a debate against Rudiger and Militao, probably against Militao. But again, when they're healthy, they're both very good. So, I'm not going to push it. So Madrid fans, don't come at me. I'm not going to push it. Just putting them in the conversation. I think they can be in the conversation. But yeah, I don't know.
That was a funny graphic. That was a funny game for them.
Yeah.
It's funny, like how, I don't know, like I feel like people just kind of thought Madrid were going to win every single game they ever played for the rest of forever, but they're so unbalanced. It's funny.
Yeah. And also anyone who thinks that doesn't watch the league up week in, week out.
Facts.
Like, I'm sorry. Do you not understand that every team is going to rock up in an obscenely low block against Madrid? And they're going to come in hacking. Like, it's going to be cards. It's going to be like, they're going to try and piss off Vinny, and Vinny will take the bait 9 times out of 10 and get himself booked for stupid shit. So like, it's not going to be a walk in the park. And, but they're still Madrid. They will still come through when it matters in the big games because that's just really how it goes.
Yep.
That being said, it is incredibly hilarious seeing Barcelona fans bragging about week 1 of the season. They're like, oh, look, we're top of the league. And Madrid with their super team, their new Galacticos era, couldn't beat Mallorca. It's just like, okay, let's see how you guys do against Mallorca. Let's see how you guys
playing
do
on the island, man.
League.
These island teams, dude. They're
it's a hard place to go and play.
Yeah.
It's very funny. You can tell when people just talk about La Liga who doesn't actually watch La Liga because they just view it as like a hypothetical league that's really, really easy. It's fucking not. Just watch the games. Sometimes it's really mind-numbing football because no one's shooting because everyone's hacking, and it can be a really physical league, but that doesn't necessarily make it bad. It might not be a fun watch, but it doesn't make it easy to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not much really.
We'll see what happens. Like, do you think they're going to make changes, or do you think they're just going to try to figure it out?
I think so. Ancelotti in his press conference basically said, I think the subs came too late and I really wasn't happy with the performance. And when Ancelotti says that, that's when you know something's coming. So either he's going to make changes to the starting lineup, or he's going to run the same team out, having fired an absolute rocket up their backsides in training this week. So either way, they're going to be coming out motivated and ready to win. This is also their first game at home. The Super League was played on neutral ground, and the Mallorca game was obviously played on the island away from home. This is their first game in Madrid. So this is a big game for a lot of reasons. They need to bounce back, and they're doing it in front of the fans. So,
which is massive.
Yeah. So yeah, I would expect them to absolutely crush the ever-living shit out of Real Valladolid. Yep. That's how you say it. Valladolid? It's Vaya. Something like that. You know the team.
Listen,
you know the team.
Listen. These teams are really hard to pronounce, right? Like, do your best. I think you did your best.
I do my best. Serie A was interesting. Hilariously, basically everyone tied in Serie A. The league table before somebody actually won a game was hilarious. Just everyone sitting on 1 point.
It was everyone sitting on 1 point, and then Napoli at the bottom. Yeah,
wow. Yeah, Napoli are hilariously bad. I genuinely don't think I'm going to bet them at all.
Dude, horrible. And then didn't Special K get hurt or something?
Yeah, he got hurt in the first half.
I remember because that was part of my bad luck. I bet on Giancarlo Ramos and I bet on Special K. I took Special K shots. Both of them got hurt.
Oh, that's gross.
Both inside like the 30th minute too, because Giancarlo was in like the 20th minute.
Yeah, definitely early. Not good. They didn't look good. I'd tell you who did look good was Atalanta. And it was kind of funny because we were just like, well, we know Lookman. We were like, oh, Lookman's a surprise withdrawal from the squad, because apparently he's now looking to leave, which I didn't see coming, but now apparently he is looking to leave. And Koopmeiners is somehow not a done deal. I thought Juventus had snapped him up ages ago, but apparently that's still going on. But they were both out of the squad, so we're just like, well, their two best players are not playing. That's not a good look. And then they won 4-0 away from home and looked brilliant doing it. So fair enough. Fair play.
I also thought Milan looked Milan. I thought they looked really bad.
Yeah, they brought it back, but also to be fair, they didn't look brilliant. But this was a common theme across all the major leagues, and people were really surprised about this. And I posted about it like on Saturday morning because I was just like, you need to watch out for this, guys. All the players that played in the Euros final and the Olympics either didn't start or started and then subbed off very early.
Very early, yeah.
And I said to people, I said this in the Discord, and I should have said it on Twitter as well because I would have looked incredibly smart after Matata got subbed off at halftime. I was just like, guys, they were just playing like proper, like the guys at the Olympics just got home and haven't played any preseason. The guys that played in the Euros final played this game a month ago and started training probably a week ago. Yeah. So if they're do you know what? The only one I think that started and played major minutes, it was Bukayo Saka because Arteta is a maniac. That being said, he subbed him off after 80 minutes, and that's an improvement for Arteta.
I saw your tweet. You were really excited.
I was just like, oh my goodness, he's figured out he can do it. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, 2-0 up at home. We should have that game won. We really should. And he deserves to get off the field. Yeah. But yeah, Foden, Rodri, Stones, Walker didn't start for City. Foden subbed on at halftime because Savio was hurt. Matata playing at the Olympics started the game, got subbed off at halftime.
Yep.
Ollie Watkins started, didn't look brilliant, came off after an hour. That also may have been performance-wise. He didn't look great. But I was just like, got to be aware of this, guys. This is going to happen. And then people were like making a big deal. They were like, oh, why is Luka Jovic starting over Morata? Because Morata played a month ago in the Euros final. It's the same thing. And then he came on and he scored. He got a goal disallowed, and then he scored a real goal. So I was just like, it's hard to judge them when they're not playing their starting lineup for a very valid reason. So I was just like, okay, didn't look brilliant, but you know what? They got a point having been down 2-0. So fair enough. And Morata will probably start next week.
Yep.
But we'll see. I thought Juventus looked good. You must be happy about that.
Bro, I was really happy. I was like, it's going to take some time. Brad, just be patient. Mm-hmm. But they looked really good. That was like a scary spot where I saw a lot of people were pro Juventus in that game, and I was like, I'm not going to bet it. I'm just going to be really calm. Mm-hmm. It was nice.
Yeah, although Vlahovic missed an absolute sitter, which I thought was really annoying. But apart from that,
didn't start, which was interesting.
Yeah, that's true. And Whale looked good. I was really happy about that.
Whale looked really good. He's back from trying to choke people and punch people out and shit.
Yeah, that being said, his actions may have directly caused Berhalter to get fired and Pochettino to get signed, so maybe he is America's hero.
The hero we didn't know we deserved.
Exactly. That red card was the beginning of a beautiful chain of events.
Yep.
And then really in League One, not much happened. I shouldn't say League One because League One is what lists the third division of English soccer. I got to really bring out the accent and go League 1. That's what it really is. PSG did not look brilliant, and then they scored about 3 goals in the last 10 minutes.
It was funny too because it felt like everyone scored that was in the second half in that front line.
It was just the lean forward meme. It was just like, okay, let's start trying now, guys.
Yep, Dembele scored, Muani scored. Who played the right wing? I mean the left wing.
I don't know actually.
Bradley Barcola.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then João Neves in his first game, 2 assists.
Yeah, that's a good signing. That's a really good signing.
Great signing.
But
What about
yeah.
Marseille?
Marseille, I thought looked great as well. I was not sure how they would look, and then the Zerbi ball came out and they looked brilliant. So fair enough. Greenwood was cooking while he was cooking. Can't argue with that. They had like they won 5-1, something like that.
Yeah, dude.
It was a spanking.
I thought Lyon, they're in trouble, I think.
Again, a tricky one because Lacazette didn't start because he was away at the Olympics. What I don't understand, I'm glad that they signed Georges because I thought he had a good Euros. What I don't get is why they don't play Gift Orban. I love Gift Orban.
Yeah.
Everyone knows I love Gift Orban ever since I cashed the hat-trick bet. And I just don't – he's one of the most promising young strikers in Europe. They signed him from Ghent last January, and he's just not starting regularly. And I'm just like, why? I mean, unless they're preparing for Lacazette's eventual retirement, and then they're going to plan on playing with a 2-striker formation with Gift and Georges playing alongside each other, I think that would look really good. But they weren't playing a 2-striker formation. They were playing.
No, they weren't.
They were playing with Georges and then with 2 wingers. So what's the point then? What's the point of signing him?
That was a hard match for me to watch. I was like, oh man, something happened. But not for Rennes. Rennes scored, obviously, but Lyon just couldn't find the back of the net. I think they had a pretty high XG. They had a ton of shots. I don't know, man. That was a tough watch. Obviously, this is also what I kind of have to tell myself too, is it's match day 1 and they played on the road. Don't get too high or low on teams right away.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of hard to judge. Plus, Lyon were in the relegation zone in November last season, and they ended up either just missing out or just qualifying for Europe. I forget where they ended up, but they were solidly top 7. So
just qualifying for Europe. So
they did pretty well. So well, that was the weekend action. Let's get into some games for this weekend. We'll start with the Premier League because, well, that's probably the most I want to talk about. And I mean, there are a lot of interesting games, but I'll try and narrow it down to the ones I really want to talk about.
Okay.
First one being the early kickoff, which is Brighton Man U. This one I'm really excited about because Brighton looked brilliant. Now, Everton did get a red card, so again, kind of skews the data that we got from that game. But Mitoma looked great.
Mitoma looked great, and I know you were paying attention to how many shots Mitoma took.
Oh yeah, no, I was paying attention. Because I pay attention, and then I went back to check out the full stats to see if I missed anything from games I didn't watch, and I was just like, "You telling me Thomas Souček had the most shots?"
Yeah.
Before Eze took about 7, but I think Souček had the highest shots per 90 or something like that, and it was just he took 5 shots. I'm just like, huh? Okay, all right, say less. Good to know. I'll file that one away. But yeah, Mitoma.
What do you think about this game?
This game, I think, has goals. I don't see Man U keeping a clean sheet. There's a big difference between Brighton and Fulham. I don't 100%. think Brighton gets shut out at home, but I also don't think Brighton keeping a clean sheet against the 10-man Everton side means that much. And I think it really depends how Man U line up. If they run out with a Bruno false 9 with Mount at the 10, I'm going to be pissed, but I will then take Bruno shots because he had about 5 total and took 3 in the first half, which is plus 800. So
yeah, I took Bruno over 2.5 shots.
Nice.
At minus 128. And I was like, damn.
That's nice.
That was easy.
Especially considering he's going to be taking pens and probably going to be taking free kicks depending on where it is as well. That being said, I just want to see Garnacho start. I know he was away at Copa America, which is why he didn't start. They're using his minutes back. But Rashford just looked so bad, and I want him to be good, but he looked terrible. So I really think Man U's best lineup is having Garnacho at left wing, Diallo on the right wing, and then you have Bruno at the 10 and start Xerxes up top. That's the lineup I'd love to see. And if they do run that out, then I do trust them to score. If Garnacho's not ready and they don't start Xerxes again and they put Bruno as a false 9, Mount, Rashford, and then Diallo on the right, I will be disappointed. I will like both teams to score an over 2.5 less. That being said, they should still find a goal. but I'm not sure if I would bet it, and I would probably just pivot to Bruno shots because
Yeah.
Brighton don't really hold possession like that, and Bruno was getting absolutely fed by balls in behind. I thought Diallo looked really exciting. He looked really good. Some nice passes in behind, and Bruno was making some pretty good runs.
Yeah.
So that's how I would approach that.
If they put your ideal lineup out there, I actually like Manchester United draw no bet at -105.
I'm not sure I love them that much. Even with my ideal lineup, I don't know if I love them that much.
I'm not sold on Brighton. And
okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Going to be a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
They have a ton of injuries, and I think that we're taking too much stock on that Everton match. Like,
yeah,
I think United walk away with this at least with 1 point, and I think they have a good chance of getting 3.
That's fair. Either way, I'm excited to watch this game. I think this game will tell us a lot about both teams, and I do see shots. So I'm really interested in looking at that. Not sure how I'm going to bet it yet because it's one of those games that really depends on how the teams actually line up because it's a lot that could be up in the air. So got to wait until lineups drop, and that's the early kickoff. So you guys better be up at 6:30, or I guess 6:15, because now the Premier League mandates 75-minute before kickoff for lineups rather than an hour. So 6:15 Eastern time is when we're going to get lineups for this early kickoff game. So make sure you guys are awake. And if you live on the West Coast,
I forgot all about the early kickoff. Listen, that life is something serious because it's not always about being up at 7. It's about being up before the hour before. So
Mm-hmm. Oh what I like to do is wake up, look at lineups, get my bets in, and then go back to bed. And I'll sleep until the lineups drop for the main slate at 10 o'clock, because I'm just like, I don't have to watch the game to see if they're going to cash. Like, I can't cash out of first half shots, so there's no reason for me to stay up and watch. And if I wake up to cash in my account, then so be it. And if I don't, then that's rough. We go again. Palace West Ham.
Yes.
Again, another game that I think is going to tell us a lot about both teams, because I think Palace got really fucked over in that Brentford game, mostly because of the Eze free kick that got chalked off, which changed the momentum of the whole game. And I wasn't sold on West Ham. That being said, I don't think they were playing their main starting lineup. They had Antonio playing over Fulkrug, which I really hope was a fitness/new signing decision to ease him in rather than an actual tactical decision, because if I see a healthy Fulkrug get benched by Antonio, I'm going to scream.
Yeah.
So I don't think they played brilliantly against Villa, but I'm curious to see how they play against Palace at home. That being said, if they don't play brilliantly, I don't think that's a massive strike against them yet. I'm cautiously optimistic this West Ham team, once they figure out how they're going to start their new signings and integrate them, I'm curious to see how they do.
It did feel like much of the same here with West Ham. They still allowed like 16 shots, high XG. I'm taking 2 bets in this game. First one, I'm going to take Crystal Palace team total over 1.5. But anybody listening, do not take it if there's a negative sign in front of those odds. There's some -105s, -107s, but there are also some +105s out. I don't think it's worth it for a minus sign. But under Glasner, I think a lot of people don't realize this. Under Glasner, Crystal Palace had played 7 home matches. In 6 of those home matches, they scored 2 goals or more. And I don't want to keep going deeper, but they've scored 3 goals or more, and a ton of them too. Obviously, they don't have the same creativity with no Elise, but Elise wasn't in all those matches. I also took Eze 2+ first half shots at -105.
Nice. Yeah, the price got nuked from obviously playing against Brentford, which is a bummer, but I'm probably going to go back to Eze as well. Very excited for that. I'm not going to touch West Ham shots though, because I don't know who the fuck's going to shoot.
I wanted to ask you about Wharton. Are we keep seeing him take these many shots?
I don't know. He took a few shots. He started becoming a bit of a
second half.
Yeah. So that's sort of, but he can shoot. He caught my radar before people started pushing for him to be in the England lineup.
Yeah.
And sort of like in February or March last season, because they signed him in January, because he took 3 first half shots out of nowhere. And I was just like, because I see that happening from like a no name, and I get like fully erect because I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. He said fully
Tell
erect.
me more. Tell me more about this guy. This guy's ripping shots from midfield. That's all I want to see. So he definitely has the capacity to do it, but he's not consistent with it because of his role in the team, which is a little bit of a turnoff.
Yeah. Well, we'll monitor because he's plus 165 to take 2 shots.
Fair enough. That's really tempting. But that's the thing. He's going to take 3 or he's going to take 0. It's like Rodri.
Yeah.
It's like Rodri. You really can't bank on it, and it entirely depends on the flow of the game. It's really sort of like,
and also it's going to be, I think once it's going to be different, like with Mateta playing longer in the match because Mateta will come deeper as opposed to Edouard.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, the last game we're going to talk about in the Prem is the one that means the most to me, is Aston Villa against Arsenal. Now, this one is a bit of a tricky one because Arsenal lost to Villa both times last season. This is a massive, massive time for Arsenal to just rock up, lay the dick down, and just be like, yo, we are better. Like, people have been debating on Twitter who's the better manager, Emery or Arteta. And I'm not going to go into that again because I've spoken my piece about this. But it's just time to let them know who's boss. And I will be really upset if we don't win. I'm not going to pick a side, mostly because it's going to be really stressful for me to watch. I don't want to have money on it either way. But I'm going to put this very simply. If you like Arsenal, you will never get a better money line bet than this unless they're playing like City. It's like minus 120. So if you like Arsenal to just win, brilliant, take that. If you're an Arsenal hater and you think we choke and you think we can't beat Villa and you love Unai Emery, brilliant, take Aston Villa double chance or the Tino bet. And if you lose the bet, then fuck you. Giant middle finger to you bastards. But it's that simple, Either trust Arsenal to get the job done for once in their lives, or back Villa at home, and we'll see what happens.
Listen, I might be crazy, but I like under 2.75.
I can't argue with that.
I think a lot of people are going to be drawn to the over. I'm drawn to the under here. In the 2 games they played last season, I think
1-0, 2-0
were like 2.5 and 0.9 and 1.9, excuse me, and neither game went over. Arsenal didn't score, so that kind of changes the complexion, but I still think there's value in it. I wouldn't be surprised. Sorry, there's a bug on my goddamn glasses.
Oh, that's fun.
I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal win this in a low scoring game.
Fair enough. Can't argue with that, and we will see what happens. Let's take a little flight over to Spain really quickly, and let's talk about the big guns. We'll start with Barca against Bilbao. This one I think is going to be a lot of fun. Also, Nico Williams, I really hope you are starting. I know you played very well in the Euros final, so if you need a little bit of rest, okay, fair enough. But I hope he plays because I would love to see how that goes against Barcelona, who was so heavily linked to, and then he just said, fuck you guys, I'm staying, sign a new deal, Bilbao for life, baby. So if he starts, give me his shots. And also, please let Fermin Lopez start too.
Yo, we were so right about the Barcelona game last time on the podcast.
Yep.
Last week.
That's what happens.
Yeah. I wanted to take Barca first half corners, but I think I missed out on that number. So I ended up passing on this. I think it's funny that this will be a fun game for whoever goes up. Just take the other team's corners because both are really good at getting corners late in games.
Yeah, I like that. Who do you think is going to win? This game has draw written all over it.
1-1.
Yeah, I'd love that. That's exactly what I'm picturing. Give me a 1-0 first half lead, late second half equalizer.
Yep, that's exactly. It's so Spain. It's so these two teams when they play each other, like tight, tough.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And we touched on Madrid earlier when we were talking about sort of how they didn't win at Mallorca, but now they're playing at home. I assume you agree with me that they're just going to absolutely batter this Valladolid team.
Yeah, they're going to score as many goals as they possibly can. I didn't have any player props on this one, but I think this is like.
Well, they all suck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, bro. And I was even like, so what I've been having trying to tell myself is like stop parlaying multiple player props that don't get you plus money. Like I'm done taking like crazy big builders like 3 shots and 3 shots only pays out minus 140, minus 120.
Yeah,
So even Valverde, who I've been betting on recently, is freaking minus 450 for 2 shots. So
what? That's gross. I took his shots last game thinking
right?
I was predicting that it would be pretty defensive and they wouldn't be able to break him down, so he'd be ripping from midfield. Took no shots. They subbed in Modric, and Modric took 2 shots. And I was just like, okay, so the read was right. Like, I had the right idea, but then, Valverde is just one of those guys that's very flexible with the roles that he can play because he's very much a jack of all trades, workhorse center mid that can do the dirty work on defense, but can also roam forward and take shots. And, kind of like Wharton, it's sort of like frustrating. He's taking 0 or he's going to take 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer.
And then Mbappe is minus 200 for 5 shots.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. No, yeah. Miss me, but that shit. I'm not touching that.
I would rather just not bet a player prop than bet someone to take 6 shots. Unless I'm getting like a shit ton of money for it.
Right. Really all I had to touch on in Spain. But let's go over to Germany. We only had German Cup last week, but we do have the Bundesliga is back. And let's talk about the big boys. We've got Leverkusen are playing, and obviously Bayern are playing as well. Leverkusen open their season on Friday. So today, when this podcast goes up, against Gladbach, who are at home. And then Bayern play against Wolfsburg later on the weekend, and they're also playing away. In general, because we didn't talk about our predictions for the league because it's coming back, obviously, this week. How do you think this season is going to go for Leverkusen and Bayern? Or do you think a potential third team is going to sniff their backsides?
I think Dortmund's going to be sniffing a little bit. But I also think that Leverkusen are going to see a little bit of a drop because, a lot of bit of a drop because they were so many games that they rescued points from. Like, that's just so hard to do. I'm gonna pay a lot of their games, both teams, to score in over 2.5 because just like they did last season, they're going to be looking to rescue a lot of games. Just like their first game, both teams to score in over 2.5 is my bet. So
I like that. I'm really interested to see how they do. I'm not sure if they'll be they were literally perfect, so it's almost impossible.
Right. That's why I had to change what I said.
It's just going to be interesting to see exactly how they cope because, like I said, when people were shitting on Arsenal because they were like, "Ooh, Arsenal lost to the worst Bayern team ever," I'm just like, they weren't the worst Bayern team ever because they came second. I'm just like, if you look at their points totals that they did win the Bundesliga with in previous seasons, they finished right around what would have won them this season. They didn't necessarily lose the league because they were shit. Now, they did have a few bad results and they weren't able to beat Leverkusen. So that kind of sucks. But Leverkusen were just literally perfect. So if Bayern...
bugs are spawning from everywhere. I'm so sorry.
that Florida life, baby.
All right, keep going.
But if Bayern improve just a little bit, and they've brought in Elise, if Kane puts up the numbers he did last season, and the people that were saying Kane was the problem are just like, also, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
Kane was brilliant. Like, everyone else has to step up. So, if he continues that pace, if Elise starts playing well, and the defense actually, remembers how to defend, then Bayern are in with a shout here. So, and interestingly enough, Bayern are still the favorites to win the Bundesliga.
I think they win it.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
It's not like some bold take that I'm.
Yeah, well, it's kind of bold now.
Yeah.
No, they clowned for taking out minus 400.
It's so hard to replicate. What happened there? So.
No, for sure. Going to be interesting though. Let's take another little flight over into France and talk about Ligue 1. Only a couple of games that really catch my eye. I don't even want to talk about PSG because their lines just stink every week. It's why I didn't talk about City because congrats, they're playing Ipswich.
You know what's annoying about the PSG game is Giancarlo Ramos is going to be out, and then Muani's props are still shit.
Yeah, it's gross. And Muani's props in a normal game are 1.5 shots line, and he usually doesn't hit it. So it's just like, okay, if you hang 2.5 now, I like it even less.
Yep.
And barely anyone offers an under, which just pisses me off. So, but Lyon Monaco, I think, is an interesting game. Again, I want to see Gift Orban or Lacazette play just would be nice. I like George's, but I'm interested to see how Leon looks with a proper full-strength lineup. And Monaco in general are very enjoyable to watch. So I think this game has goals. I can see both teams to score over 2.5, assuming all the main starting guys are playing.
Yeah, you're talking about the Leon Monaco
Monaco game. Yeah.
Yeah, I like goals in this one as well. That's about it. I think I need to see the lineups in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Fair
Leon take a tickle on their draw no bet and a tickle on just a tickle on their draw no bet, a tickle on their money line. I've been doing that a little bit where if I take a draw no bet, I'll for a game that I think is goals, I'll take draw no bet and then for a half unit, and then I'll take team total over 1.5 for a half unit.
Gotcha. Nice. Fair enough.
If it's shootout and like they lose, you live with it. But if it's a shootout and you win both, it's good. So
yeah, can't argue with that. And then Marseille against Reims. Again, Marseille playing at home this time. And let's see if they can do it again. Let's look at Greenwood. Greenwood to score or assist, a Wahi goal. It looks like now here's the thing. We weren't sure which one of them was going to be taking pens. They both took pens last week. So Greenwood took the first one. So probably the primary taker, but also Wahi's a striker. He can absolutely score. He doesn't need a pen. I mean, neither of them need pens.
Yeah, I think that was like, you take the pen because I took the first one.
Yeah, that was like a nice one. Kind of like what LAFC did in the Leagues Cup semi. They were, because Giroud subbed on.
You were so close, bro. Yeah. I saw your bet. You were so close.
I know. And to be fair, it probably wasn't a penalty, so I'm not that upset about it. But Bouanga was like very openly just like, I want this guy to, I was like, I want Giroud to get a goal because I want him to get that first one. So he was so clearly just like giving him the pen. And would have been really nice to get that. Let's round this up with Serie A. Brad, this is not my area of expertise, but I'll let you take it away. I know you wanted to talk about Fiorentina.
Yeah, Fiorentina versus Venezia. This is going to be a game where you already know where I'm going. I'm going corner market. Taking Fiorentina -3.5 corner handicap. You could get down on the first half if you want, but I'm just going to take full game because Fiorentina, they have a solid squad, right? But they're still going to be really leaky. If Venezia get the first goal or they score to level it, I think Fiorentina are just going to have to keep going and keep going. As we saw in their midweek match, they conceded 2 goals right away. And it wasn't necessarily like we could talk about these excuses of they rotated their squad a little bit, blah, blah, blah. No, that's just how they're going to play this season. And it's going to lend themselves to a lot of corners. And now having Moise Kean as the center forward, he brings a lot of those balls to the boundaries.
Just scored in the qualifying game.
He did, yeah. That game was nuts. They were down 2, went up by 1, and then end up drawing. But I love corners for them. I don't know if I want to play team total just because I don't want to double dip. But if you're into total corners, I think total corners is a good look too. I think Venezia got pounded on it too.
Fair enough. Can't argue with that. Well, those are all the games that we are going to talk about. Brad, anything you would like to plug before we say goodbye?
Oh, man. On Friday afternoon, look out for my first Premier League Power Rankings article. For everyone who has tuned into that series, thank you for the support. The first one comes out tomorrow or Friday, excuse me, because it'll be Friday when we post this.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Don't forget the Twitter plug.
And at MrBradThomas on X. Make sure you rate, subscribe, like, follow, and retweet.
Beautiful, beautiful. You guys can follow me on Twitter at FIFA Brit. And if you have not signed up for Gold Boys already, it is a brilliant time to sign up. You can sign up at goldboys.com. The leagues are all officially back now that the Bundesliga is back. All the European leagues are back. There is so much action, and we are ready to hit the ground running. Thank you again to the Gold Boys Network for continuing to sponsor this podcast and put us out on the air, even though we say a lot of incredibly sus shit. But within the sus shit, there is some smart stuff too, and we hope you're able to listen to that and put together some nice bets. I see parlays all the time of people just like taking all the leans we put out and just like slamming them together and just hit like a crazy like 40-1. And it's just like, damn, why didn't I think of that? But yeah, we appreciate you guys so much. If you aren't following the podcast, drop us a follow and leave us a 5-star review if you're feeling generous. Brad, lovely to see you again. Really looking forward to this weekend. I think we're going to learn a lot about a lot of teams, and we will see how they all play. Best of luck with all your bets, guys. And I'll catch you guys next time.